Welcome back, and if you haven't viewed the first lesson, please do that now. This is the process. My name is Dr. John Bush. A lot of the material we'll be talking about comes from my textbook on Kindle, Winning Your Fantasy Football Drafts. It's a textbook, okay? Let's move on. So, lesson 2, personal factor goals. In your journey to be a winner and to being the 10% that win, you need to consider aspects of who you are, your goals as well. Why are you playing fantasy football? Again, these lessons are going to be a lot of effort for somebody that's really not that serious. Go have fun. Have fun. Play. If it's for fun, then you don't want to spend the time and effort to develop a consistent approach. I mean, you think you do, but you don't, right? Okay, so it's just the way it is, regardless of what others may say. That's just the way it is. Sorry, I can't make it any different for you. Uh, However, if you're serious, and that's why you're hopefully paying attention here, hope so, want to help you out. I want to teach you the scholarship that I use, the journey, the scientific method, the system analysis, understanding uncertainty, making decisions under uncertainty. These are things that I wrestle with all the time in my scientific career as well as now my fantasy football. You definitely need to watch the game, at least minimum, or you need to get resources that are from people that do watch the game and understand how things are moving, changing, prediction here. There are some shortcuts uh, and things, but if you really want to get deep, I would definitely pay attention to those who watch a lot of game film. You're going to have to put some time in watching uh, NFL Network, ESPN, these things. Not necessarily, uh, for their secrets. It's just keeping you informed, right? The whole channel, XM Fantasy Sports Radio. There's a lot of bombastic pundits out there. They got a lot to say. You know, take what you need, but leave the rest. There are podcasts out there that are available. There's certainly books, educational books. Pay attention to the draft coming and going, May. And there are definitely Twitter accounts that you'll want to hang with and, cherry pick the aspects that are, that you just don't, me too, don't have time to delve into, right? Uh, Things that I like are the medical side, understanding the injuries, these kind of things. There's a lot out there. Definitely pay attention. You've also got to figure out your strengths and weaknesses. Again, we should soar with our strengths and manage our weaknesses, not the other way around, regardless of the way our society is run in that opposite way. We need to walk away from that. So if you don't win at PPR, but do great at 2 quarterback leagues, then play quarterback leagues, right? How simple is that? Just don't do it. Okay. You've also got to balance your time. Okay. You have jobs, family. Okay. Don't neglect your kids. Okay. If you're not good enough to put the effort in and still, keep a job and whatnot, then you probably should not be serious with fantasy. Okay. Family, uh, they're there at the beginning and the end, so you need, that's what you need to focus on first. Certainly your job, and I'm fortunate to have a job that really is not a job. Okay, it's a journey that is allowing me to do what I would do anyway, right? Uh, Science and engineers and these kind. I think we already were these things. It's just you have to work to get a piece of paper to show to everybody else, right? But you already know, I already kind of knew uh, that I wanted to have an advanced degree. Of course, uh, my father had a PhD, so that probably helped, right? Seeing what he did. But you've got to balance it, okay? Don't be a clown, okay? But you'll always make time for what you like. So if fantasy football's not fun or you're blowing up your car after a loss, it's not worth that, okay? It's just not worth it. So make it fun, but get intense, right? Get deep, get intense. You can do this. I'm trying to help you here. Uh, you need to set your goals, right? Your activity is an investment on next season as well as the next 10, 20 seasons. Hopefully we live long enough. Your rate of return, to me, is king. Care about trophies and funny little belts and things. Money in your pocket. That's what I measure my success with, long term. Certainly you develop new skills and techniques along the way. I've learned a lot of aspects of things using fantasy football as a way to find out other aspects of things, right? Are you a winner? If not, scale back, get deep into new skills, apply more time on task. Okay, stop what you're doing. If you're playing 5 leagues and you can't win, go back to 1. Okay, yeah, but okay, do you want to win or not? Bottom line. So again, everything to me is rate of return. And you can compare that. I mean, if you're good at picking the stock market, why play fantasy? Or just play it for fun? Spend your time on options tradings or whatnot. So you need to figure out where, your fun time is. Can it be profitable? Uh, if you have 10 leagues, 100 an entry, and you win one, then and get less than 1,000, you lost. Okay, it's just not worth all that time and effort to lose. So types of leagues, the amount of time and effort and money to invest. Bankroll management. Sacred money never wins. You don't bet the rent on the first gray horse when it rains. Okay. There are people that do that. Okay. Uh, think about it. Understand game theory. Read to gain extra secret knowledge, right? Extra secret knowledge. Common knowledge is not valuable. If everybody knows it, it's not valuable. Scarce and uncommon knowledge is the best. Do things others are not doing, okay? If everybody you listen to is saying the same thing, you're listening to the wrong group. Pick one or two, and that's it. You're just getting the same thing over and over again in fantasy. Okay, find where the expertise are of people that have skill sets that you don't, and get deep into what they're doing or what they're telling you. So off season, there really is no off season, right? If you don't understand that, then you probably shouldn't be hanging with me. You've got to be understanding, educating yourself about investing, risk management, uncertainty management, money management, and psychological factors. Okay, we all have human biases, and we've got to at least manage those. Again, scale back if you can't win. Okay, write down your goals. What do you want to do this season? Look at it at the end of the season. Did you hit your goals? Okay. And that may be, oh, I'm going to try a super flex league. Great. Okay. Do that. How did you do? Okay. Evaluate what you did. Figure out what you're good at. Are you great at figuring out tight ends? Then you should probably play in tight end bonus leagues. If you're good at PCR, play those. Non-PPR, then, maybe you're not good at that. Then don't play those. Each year, your goals should shift based on your current strengths. Hopefully, you're learning and progressing and getting better. So therefore, you can potentially expand out into other sources, other revenue streams. Okay. Experiment. I've experimented with Dynasty and I'm still experimenting. I'm stuck at one league. I would never play two leagues. If I can't beat one, why am I playing two? I've played Superflex. I've had hit or miss results. Probably not playing Superflex. Okay. Right now, it's redraft, PPR, and half point PPR is where I've made my bread and butter, and that's where I'm going to stay probably. And again, I don't play $1,000 a pop. Game theory says if you have an advantage over the house, you play as many small bets as possible to let that advantage roll through. A lot of people, if you're, say you can win at blackjack, but you have $1,000, you bet it on one hand, that doesn't help you at all because you can win or lose. Okay, you divide out your money into betting increments and play that way. So you've got to use some game theory, common sense here. Time on task. You've got to have time to invest in your business. Okay, you got to cut that wood before you get the fire. You've got to learn and stay ahead of the changes. Things are changing all the time. Rules change, coaches change, players change. Every year, things change with the drafts. New players are here. Every team is a system. The system is always changing and evolving. You've got to have enough time to go through the information, figure out depth charts, do your mock drafts, do independent research. Okay. I'm probably close to 50 leagues a year. Okay. 20 hours a week on study, research, and analysis. Okay. I'm fortunate where I'm at in my life that I can do that. I found this study, 8% of fantasy players spend 10 hours a week. 10% of fantasy players win. So let's see, 8% put a lot of effort in. So of that 8%, how many win? I bet it's a lot. Okay, so if you sit down at the table and and you're the sucker at the table, why are you playing? Okay. So think about some of that. Winning goals, desire, got to have the desire. Okay. Resources, abilities, and skills. You've got to figure that out. Not just in fantasy football, but if you're investing right, you got to retire, got to make some money. Okay. Learn about different kinds of investing. Now's the time. Okay, start saving now for a rainy day. Personal factors, time on task, winning analysis, time, effort, skills. You've got to judge all that. Okay, I recommend keeping a diary. It doesn't have to be Dear Diary, that just bullet point some things out, maybe every week in the season or whatnot. What I use is a software called Evernote, and it allows me to clip websites, journal articles, and things and it allows me to organize them into different silos that I can come back. So when I'm bored, I can open that up and just read. What was I thinking? Oh, what is this? So uh, when my 20 hours a week, that includes my fun time. To me, that's fun looking around. So I'll search things like decisions under uncertainty and just go through the literature and see what's there. There's a lot of free business, psychology, analyst articles that are out there, websites, that you don't have to buy hundreds of dollars worth of book to get educated. There's a lot out there, a lot of videos, a lot of podcasts, things that you should take advantage of. Is just here it is on the plate. Do you want it or not? No, I don't want to win. Well, you shouldn't be. You probably ought to turn me off, right? So one of the first things that I found in my journey for me and what I've seen is that the draft is important. Probably 50 or 60% of my game is in the draft. Notice I didn't say 100%. Notice I didn't say 10%. Okay, because there's, obviously injuries, things happen. You miss some key players, some surprise players come up, etc. Okay, you do some good trades. So the importance of drafting. Half your season battle occurs at the draft. So instead of 16 weeks is 50% of your success versus the draft is 50%. So success divided by time, it's the draft by a long shot. So you should question that number and you figure out what's important in the leagues you're doing. How I would do that is look at the winners and look at the players they used to win the league. Did they have them by drafting or did they pick them up over the season? You'll find about 50% or more of those players were drafted. So I had back in 2015, 16, 17, I had 83 my fantasy leagues, 25 MFLs, $25 NFLs, and I plotted the distribution of the players on the winning team versus free agents. It's a scattergram, and I colored the players that were drafted in red and the players that were added in green. And I then, plotted that, and you can see the stars, and the stars represent teams that had more free agents than drafted players. So out of the 83, only 9 teams that I encountered and I actually played in had more free agents than they did drafted players. Okay, so these 9, they must have been really good, that they poorly drafted but were able to come back. So that meant that, 74 teams drafted more than their players versus free agents. So they won their league probably at the draft or pretty close to it. Okay, I didn't plot impact, right? That would have been the next thing, but I did plot this, and so I'm convinced based on real data, not what somebody said. This is data. Okay, it's not 83. Okay, you can argue, well, you needed a sample size is always a problem in fantasy football. If you're a stats person, you're just not going to have the stats in the sample sizes. You have to work with what we got. So that adds to the uncertainty, is just not having good sample size. So to me, the draft, that, I don't know, was it a couple hours? That is so critical. You know, you're making half your money right there. Okay, that's dead serious. So that's why I focus heavily on the draft. Okay, for a lot of my research. Okay. You can just look at the actual data if you want. I have the drafted versus free agents and the difference and the percentage that were drafted, and that's what you saw, the plot. So I actually plotted that, but you can kind of go through it here and see what you think. So if you look at the draft in 15, 16, 17, it's about 63% average over those 3 years. Okay. Variation was pretty close to the same, a little variation in 2015. And then I marked the high and the low in the populations. So the lowest in 2 to 3 years was above 50%. Okay, 2015 was a little funky, 40%. That was a tough year for a lot of reasons. Okay, so this is how you keep track of what's going on. How did you, and I made money in all those years. I actually made the most in 2015 because I'm pretty good at picking up free agents. So I know that. And so not only do I nail the draft, but I'm good at picking up free agents as well. So if you're in the league that I'm in, I'm going to be dogging that free agent board while you're still asleep. Okay, I'm going to tell you now, 10 minutes of that information, I've already grabbed the player while you're, drinking that fifth beer, So just, like I said, I want you to pay attention, get some lessons, except in the leagues where I'm at, then I want you to ignore everything I'm telling you here. So 50% to 60% is the show. Okay, I don't know what people claim. This is data that I've done and seen and been and experienced. Okay, so I can't make it something it's not. A is A. Okay, I don't care how much you want it to be B. A is A. So injuries were included in that data, by the way, and those did, move the draft contributions down in winning teams. At the weakest level, the prep of the draft and making the choice is critical. So this is kind of lesson 2. We'll talk about how to do better draft and other lessons, but for now, I'm still framing. These are all introductory kind of lessons. We're still framing the journey here. Okay, if you're still with me, thanks for listening. This is so much fun. I enjoy talking about this because it hammers home my skills and things that I need to do as well. So all this research helps me, and so it's one of the reasons I like to contribute articles as well during the season, because it makes me do the work. Okay, come back. Lessons are continuing and will continue. I got a lot to say. Can you imagine? Okay. Hope you enjoyed it. Have fun. Woo woo.